Kingdom of Kodiak. I'm Kodiak. With me today, Liege Robyn of Darkman. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on. Are we okay?
Yeah, sorry, I just had I'd accidentally pulled up the live stream at the same time, so I was given a lot of feedback issues.
Oh, yeah.
Not do that.
Yeah, so that's the reason why KOK has the buffer time now, where I have to be like, I have to check things, because for like 12 episodes in a row, the viewers may not have seen it, but the episode was playing in my ear while I was trying to have the conversation. So yeah, that got a little hectic.
That could be a lot, yeah.
Anyways, thank you for coming on. Let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get to the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Still, I would like to know, how long have you been playing Amtgard?
I've been playing Amtgard for almost 2 years at this point. Almost 3 years at this point. It'll be my third year in August. So
Cool. That's sort of the same amount of time. I just did my 4-year anniversary in January, so. Or first week of February. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about the persona. Where does your persona come from?
So we're actually going through a big roleplay battle currently within Dark Moon about my persona and trying to take my story further. I hail from a region very close to Dark Moon, but it doesn't necessarily have a name right now, because as things pop up, as time evolves, as everything else does. But my family was a family of changelings, so therefore I'm also a changeling. They were mercenaries hired for both good side, bad side, just wherever the money came. And they ended up getting killed out of the house, the estate that we lived on, and I was the only survivor left. So I escaped, found the nearest city, which happened to be Darkmoon, and started to rebuild my life from there. So over the past almost 3 years at this point, it's been rebuilding and trying to gain enough skills and friends in order to help me take back the estate that was taken from me.
I love it. That's it's very Percy, if anyone knows what I'm saying right there. But also, I love the RP of your character growing through the story and through time, and so I hope that's a lot of fun for you as you're experiencing it. So, Robyn, what award or achievement would you say you're most proud of receiving?
I have the one that I'm most proud of receiving is definitely my 2 Crown Awards. I worked very hard as Prime Minister my first time in office, and I personally believe I did a lot of very good things while I was in the office, and a lot of people seem to have really liked how I ran things as Prime Minister, and I'm very proud that my work was recognized and that people still just really appreciate the Prime Minister duties. It's a position that kind of gets overlooked sometimes because a lot of it is background work. And so the fact that people saw what I was doing and were really appreciative of it means so much to me.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's really nice when, especially, I guess by Godric's law, what I'm calling it now, Godric, you are a new player. So having new crown awards and being recognized early, that's fantastic. That's always great to hear. Godric's Law, we should write a book about it. Sir Alucard and Cassio would like to know, what's your favorite class to play?
My favorite class is actually Monster. I play primarily flying monsters. It's what I'm most well known for throughout the kingdom. I do a lot of garb, so I make a lot of monster garb that has feathers, all sorts of wings. I have made garb for every flying monster in the Doro Navathar X, except for Celestial Vendor, because I just hit level 6 on Sunday, so now I have the ability to actually put together a new wing set for that and play it.
Whoa, okay. All right. I'm bouncing between my primary class, which is Druid, and Infernal Descendant for my storyline that I'm doing on the side. And oh man, Monster is so good. If you just don't know what you want to do, just go Monster. Like you can do anything. It's awesome. Well, congratulations on hitting 6 too. As a fellow level 6 monster, we should take over the world. It's great. To go along with that question, Sarai and Morgan would like to know, what's your favorite battle game to play when you're playing monsters?
I am a very objective focused person. So when playing flying monsters, I like games that, capture the point or push the heavy object style games. Just, I'm not very good at killing, unfortunately. So if there's some other objective that needs to be completed, that is what I excel at.
Okay. It takes all kinds, right? Like you gotta have people who are willing to complete the objectives to get them done, even in games where there's only one of them. Well, that's great. And then the last question of the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Deverick would like to know, what's your favorite weapon set to use?
I actually really enjoy using javelins. So when I was brand new to the game, I leveled up Monster to level 2 fairly quickly so that I could play Harpy, which has javelins. I've created a whole set of javelins. They're all color-coded. They all have names, everything like that. They range from 3 feet to 6 feet long. And they're my favorite thing to use just because they're easy to throw. They're very lightweight. I can keep my distance from people and still be somewhat effective, if not intimidating. So.
Oh, have you talked to maybe getting a couple of other members of your park to play Harpies with you and being Harpy sisters from like Yu-Gi-Oh? No, yeah.
No, I'm non-binary and my partner is also non-binary. So we both play Harpy sometimes, but we never play Harpy at the same time just because it becomes too much of a force to be reckoned with on the field.
Yeah.
It's way too strong too fast. So.
That's fair. Completely fair. I know that you get too many monsters and it starts messing with the balance that the classes bring to the game. But anyone who's contemplating a Yu-Gi-Oh rain theme, there's one to tap into real quick. Fantastic. Well, those were the bare necessities, Robyn. Sorry, Sin. We're going to get to the 3 questions KOK viewers have been asking since episode 1. We're at episode 97 now. So we've been doing this for a minute. Sir Glenolf received a toaster. That toaster was given to him by Sir Alucard. I gave Sir Alucard the toaster, and Calthrax gave me the toaster.
Okay.
The question is, Robyn, does Sir Glenolf deserve a soda maker?
I mean, clearly, yes. I mean, if you have all of the electronics in one house, then it's a one-stop shop. Everything that you want there is there. And so you don't have to like go around to different people trying to get a hold of a soda maker to go with your toaster. You just have them all in one place.
There you go. I can't argue with the logic. Plus, if he has a soda maker, he can make a soda bread. I've told he makes excellent soda bread. I feel like it kind of tells its own story there. Robyn, Stillhat would like to know, why is Stillhat the best bear?
Well, I assume he's quite large.
Well, she is not a problem. Stillhat, I don't think Stillhat would have a problem with whatever. But why is Stillhat the best bear?
Well, I would assume due to the large size, it's quite powerful, and quite caring as well. I would assume. So, having the strength of both the physical strength and the emotional strength to carry on, and to treat others with respect.
Okay, all right. Well, Freya would like to ask the question that corresponds with that: is why are bears so overrated?
These are very difficult questions.
I know, this is a KOK exclusive here. Yeah. Only the tough ones.
I wouldn't necessarily say that bears are overrated. I would say they are quite popular, but everything's popular for a reason. Like if their popularity is just because they're amazing, then that's what it is. And that's all there really is to it.
Yeah. And you know what? Robyn, you never mentioned that I was the best bear in any of that, but you did say bears were amazing, and I do have some bear tendencies. So I'm going to take all the points that would have been awarded this week, and I'm going to donate them to charity. And because of that, I get additional points. So let's say about 75 million to me. Stillhat, you're still in a very far second place. So one of the popular questions for Dragonspine is, it's always hot, how can we stay cold? Robyn, what are your thoughts on Dragonspine getting a mobile pool and or jacuzzi?
So that's a lot of water to use, and honestly, if it's super hot, you'll have trouble keeping it refilled. I don't think it'll necessarily be a huge problem. A lot of parks tend to leave behind empty water bottles or half-empty water bottles during the summer. You can just use those to refill. I feel like that would be, honestly, a great way to recycle, not waste any of that water. Yeah, I feel like, go for it. Get the jacuzzi. Just, fill it up with those half-drank water bottles that everybody leaves at the end of the park day.
You know what it took? It took someone outside of Dragon's Spine to finally give us back the permission to go for the mobile pool and or jacuzzi. But Robyn, we have a problem now because you've agreed that we should have how would you fund it?
Well, a lot of cities and states will do recycling. They will actually pay you for the weight of the recyclable materials that you use. Like I said, take the half-empty water bottles, dump them, recycle them. You get a little bit of money back. You just keep doing that. It's a never-ending cycle to help pay for the jacuzzi and pool.
All right. So we're going to rely on the water that we were already going to have to rely on. Fantastic. More reasons for people to bring water out to park.
Exactly. Stay hydrated.
There you go. Hail Hydra. All right. Well, those are the 3 questions KOK viewers have been asking since episode 1. And again, it's episode 97. So those have been asked for a long time. Way too long, if some would say. Let's get to your actual questions. And we're going to start with I guess it's not the new starter question anymore, but it is a very important one. Robyn, what is your weirdest flex?
Oh gosh, what is my weirdest flex? I'm very flexible. I don't want to demonstrate anything on here because I haven't done anything in a while and I wouldn't want to horrifically embarrass myself on a live stream. But I am extremely flexible, which oftentimes does not come into battle games at all. But I'm still quite proud of it. I used to dance professionally for about 15 years. So I've lost a little bit of that flexibility over time as I am no longer young enough to maintain that. But I can still stretch and flex quite a bit. So
okay, awesome. I promise you that you are the first to say that you are very flexible as the weirdest flex on Kingdom of Kodiak. So congratulations for that. Bear pun question, so it gets to stay in because this is a bear pun show. Are you the torch bearer of any particular skills?
Within the Iron Mountains, at least, I am very much. I've been leading the way, at least in my opinion, and from the opinion of a couple of other people, of using historical techniques to build fantasy garments, and specifically using those to build wings. Okay. It's something that I'm quite proud of, and that I'm continuing to work with as I progress up the Garber path, which is my favorite. But yeah, everything I make is. Most of the time it's almost 100% hand sewn, if not is 100% hand sewn. I use techniques from about 15th century up to 19th century. So just anything in between. And yeah, I'm quite proud of it. And I honestly hope that inspires more people as well to start combining history and fantasy in the way that we combine sword and sorcery.
Absolutely. You're actually, I don't know how you did that to my brain, but today specifically, I went to my principal because I'm a teacher at the local high school, and I'm trying to get a historical reenactment and foam sword fighting club started at school. So having someone that could come into the schools and be like, I can period piece this item for you and show you how to do that. That is the kind of skills that would make that club thrive. So that's really awesome that you dived into my head to pull that answer out. I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
So Lightning and Beatrix would both like to know, what's your favorite garb that you own?
Well, currently it's this cape that I made fairly recently. I adore it so much. It's actually quite warm. It's made of felt and yarn and a little bit of flannel and some fur. And it was all hand sewn. And I'm quite proud of it. And I'm actually getting ready to enter it into our Kingdom's Dragon Master.
Nice.
As a result. So, yeah.
Cool. We're going to talk about it here shortly after we talk about all of your crafting abilities and skills. But remind me to ask if you do commissions. You don't answer yet. We'll say spoilers. Spoilers. So Dash would like to know, what's your dream kit or garb piece?
Well, at some point, I would like to be able to actually carry around all of my wings at once. So it's not really
Oh,
a
okay.
kit, but I like to be able to lend out my different winged garbed for players that want to play different monsters.
Mhm.
And so, like, I just never have enough room to carry all of them with me. Like,
Okay.
there's some actually up behind or underneath this fur here.
Mhm.
They're just all throughout our house at this point. We have so many. I want to be able to take all of those, and I think it would be absolutely incredible if I could figure out a way to wear all of them at once. And I don't think it's impossible, but I have yet to try.
Fair enough. Okay. So some way to transport the wings and to display them? Is that what we're looking for here?
Mostly, well, not really to display them, just to have them with me in case other people want to use them.
Okay.
A lot of my stuff is designed so that it'll fit more than one type of person or body shape.
Okay.
So that way they are meant to be shared and lent out and give people the same experience that I have and that I enjoy.
Awesome.
I do still think, now that you mentioned it, that wearing all of the wings at once would be an interesting opportunity.
Yes.
And create a monster based on that would be very broken, but I believe very fun for a brief minute.
And very sweaty, I would assume, given
Probably.
them that one pair is warm. But to you and whatever you do with it, that's fantastic. Sir Ilmrin would like to know, what's your favorite thing about Amtgard?
Honestly, and this is going to sound a little cliche, but every time I get asked what my favorite thing about Amtgard is, I have to say every single time the community that we have. Like, I have made so many friends. I've made my lifelong partner is I met because of Amtgard. I absolutely adore the community that we have. It's created a very safe and welcoming environment for me. And even when I don't necessarily feel safe or welcome, I can bring that up with some of the people around me, and we can make sure that that safety and that welcoming environment is restored as a result.
Yeah.
And I just love this community so much, nationally, internationally, even locally. It's been so great.
Yeah, we only ever hear about the really bad stuff that's going on, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's not the huge chunk of Amtgard. The huge chunk of Amtgard is a group of friends that spend way too much time together.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gaming with them Saturday after I go to park with them, and then I'm going to Super Bowl parties with them the next day.
Nice.
Oh, by the way, one of my roommate is an Amtgarder. Like it. Yeah, I get it, but that's great to hear. It's good. They're good times. Melody Songtailor would like to know, what is your favorite crafting skill?
Hand sewing, in all honesty, is my favorite. It's very calming and relaxing for me to just kind of like throw something on the TV, preferably in English because it's the only language that I know, and then just sit there and sew for hours on end without having to like look up or anything like that. So. Yeah,
I would want to agree with you, but the only time that since I joined Amtgard that I tried to hand sew anything, I think my left inside of my pointer took I don't know 12 points of damage. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to use it ever again. It's not great. Oh, by the way, I'm running for Region of Dragonspine.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see. Have you happened to have an opportunity to design any battle games?
I have designed a couple of battle games. We haven't tested them or ran them yet because I just am kind of waiting for the time to be able to do it without kind of stepping on anybody else's plans that are going on. But I am currently running for Regent. Well, I'm not currently running. We haven't fully declared yet, but we are planning to run as a team for this upcoming reign for Dark Moon, and I plan to run as Regent. And since the part of the reign theme is based on my backstory and lore, and we're trying to incorporate a lot of other people's backstories and lore into this, we are planning specifically one battle game based around like entirely taking back my estate. And I have laid out plans for that battle game, but I'm working with a couple of different people to flesh it out fully. But I have stated, like, this is kind of what I want from it. This is what I want to see happen. This is how we got here, etc. And so I have somewhat designed battle games. The battle games I have fully designed by myself had not been tested yet. I'm helping to design one that will definitely be played September 3rd. So,
Do you happen to need/want NPCs?
yeah, I mean, like, we'll take whoever we can get. I have been recruiting for this it'll be 1 year to the day on September 3rd that we will have been recruiting for this. My side and my Monarch side are actually both recruiting for this piece, or for this giant battle game that we're planning as a result. We're recruiting inside the park, inside the kingdom, outside the kingdom, anyone that we can get to come in and fight for this. We're recruiting.
Dragon's fine. This is an opportunity for us to go bother another kingdom and also get to do some RP. Yeah.
We would love to have you.
Cool. I mean, you don't have to really talk much to me about it. I when I hear RP opportunities, I kind of jump at it. We'll have to talk at some point down the road to square that up. Okay, cool. I'm here for it. I've got another bear pun for you, Robyn. What would you consider to be a bare necessity of Amtgard that new players should focus on?
Having fun. It's like, we tout ourselves as a free-to-play game, and so having a material item for people to have isn't necessarily going to be a good option. And so just have fun is kind of the biggest thing. Come in, borrow garb if you need, borrow sticks if you need, borrow spell lists if you need. Just come out here, whack people, yell at people, have fun. Like, that's the most important thing in my opinion. When I started, I was very fortunate. I come from a cosplayer background, so I had access to a bunch of material, a bunch of equipment and everything like that just from the stuff I've done previously in the past. But I know a lot of people don't have access to that starting out, and I don't care. Just come out, have fun with us. That's what matters. You'll make quick friends, you'll make strong allies. Most of the time parks have loner gear to start off. If they don't have loner gear, a player may be like, oh, well, I'll give you my piece or my weapons. I know that pre-COVID, I burned through 5 of my swords. I went into COVID owning 0 because I was like, oh, well, here, take this home with you so you can practice. And then we went into COVID, and obviously I haven't seen the players since, but, you know, maybe they'll play it another day somewhere else or whatever, and it'll be great. But yeah, have fun. Great answer. Still, I would like to know if you could tell us a little bit about your personal heraldry. So my personal heraldry, I'm actually quite happy about it. It's a combination of modern and historically accurate heraldry. If you notice in the corner of the photo on there, it actually has the correct wording and everything for it. Promethea taught a class on heraldry, and
yes, she did.
After that, I spent like a day and a half fleshing out mine, and I was like, I really want it to be simple so I can just kind of put it on everything very easily. I still wanted to include a bit about who I am and everything like that, and since my name is Robyn, I play primarily flying creatures, a giant red feather made the most sense. So there's a giant red feather in the corner. It's got the black and white on it because my entire garb setup is always monochromatic. It's always red, white, black, gray. So I have a very strong aesthetic that I stick to. And I love my heraldry so much. I have, you can't see it, it's just out of corner from the thing, but I have a painting of it. I have a belt favor that I always have on that has my...
Yes! Love it.
I love my heraldry so much.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to make it all the way through the heraldry without pointing out Promethea, because Promethea came and did a class for Dragonspine where we did heraldry, and that's where I got my heraldry. That's where Deverick got his heraldry. I still had put them together for us, but it was the inspiration of Six Promethea that got us to that point. So excellent name to drop. Fantastic. Okay. I get a little forlorn at this question because it continues to stay on my KOK list. Not because I'm entirely thrilled about it, Robyn. Let me explain that to you right now. Only because people keep saying yes. Okay. Okay. So I want you to understand that before I ask, because now you know. All right. Okay. Back shields for version 9. Are you in or out?
This is a hotly debated question.
Mm-hmm,
A lot of my friends do armor. A lot of my friends make very large shields. And at what point do they become the same thing is kind of my problem. And so I don't necessarily think back shields should be a thing because there's a lot of complications that come with it. Let's say you break the shield, shield crushing, etc. Then you hit it again. It should go through the person's back, but they might not feel it at all. And especially in the heat of battle and everything like that, it's going to be hard to keep track of that, in my opinion. I know a lot of people already have trouble, especially in full 6 points of armor, just all over the place. A lot of people still have trouble keeping track of where they've been hit 7 times. Like, pretty much. My partner is very disappointed coming from Daga here previously and having a very large back shield, and but my opinion stands.
Well, Robyn, you've said the correct answer. I didn't know if you knew there was a correct answer, but Kato, the person who asked the question is, of course, Kato. No, we shouldn't have back shields. Despite what, I don't know, 70% of the people who've been on KOK have said, I think they only say it because they know how it will make me feel. But Kato, no, we shouldn't have back shields. But that being said, I will ask Kato's second question, and that is, of course, to flurb or not to flurb.
I think flurbing is always good. I mean, like, there's points where it's like you injure yourself and maybe that's going a little bit too far, but you trip a little bit, you roll across the battlefield, you hop back right up immediately and kill someone. Like, that's amazing. That's a great flurb. Go for it.
Yeah, if you make it look good, then, do it. Just don't get hurt. Very fantastic. So we kind of mentioned yours and your partner's plan for your rain themes when you run for office. Zana would like to know, are there any rain themes that you would like to see?
Absolutely. So we previously tried to run a Godzilla themed rain, which I think would be great for us to do again. But because of the way that dates are lining up, we're deciding not to do Godzilla theme. Personally, I would like to run at some point a Games of Chance themed rain. So largely based on board games, kind of like Catan, Monopoly, just very classic household board games, as well as just like adding a little bit of randomness into battle games. One of the ones that I thought about was a hold the point style game, but there's 6 different points and you roll a die to see which one actually scores. And if anybody's actually on that point, that's when you actually score.
All right.
But if you're not on that point and nobody's on the point that's actually rolled, then nobody gets any points for it. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game, kind of a deal.
So if I could, because I see a little tinker there that would, you multiply by the number of people that you have at that. So if you roll a 3 and there's 3 of your teammates on there, you get 9, you get 9 or whatever. And it's like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do, because that, Kodiak, massive brain, not massive. Anyways, well, yeah, those sound great. When you said Game of Chance, I was like, is that a book series? Is there? No, but it is based around a really cool idea, because there are a lot of board games that can be turned into battle games and rain themes for sure. Robyn, you're from Iron Mountains, so I would assume that the answer is going to be somewhere in the Iron Mountains. But the question here is, what park would you like to visit the most?
So, during the past 6 months, we have been unable to travel. And then before then, even with the COVID shutdown, traveling was just not an option. The Northern Holdfast in the Iron Mountains is one of my favorite parks to visit. I absolutely adore their atmosphere. They're always super nice when we go. I love visiting them. That being said, when I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, I did not know about AmpGuard. My parents didn't know anything about LARPing or anything like that. I would still very much love to go back to St. Louis, Missouri, find the park that's there. I don't even know what name they have or anything like that, but I would really like to go play AmpGuard in my hometown. I think that would be absolutely fantastic because I didn't get that chance to.
So I have the same life experience, right? I moved from Western New York down to New Mexico, and in New Mexico, I learned about AmpGuard. And then I found out through AmpGuard that my college, which is 20 minutes from my hometown, had a park the whole time.
Exactly.
And it's just like,
yeah, wild.
yeah, so wild. Like it would have been something I would have, well, I don't know if I would have actually, because I was kind of a jock in college. Who knows? Anyways, we'll figure that out when we get down the road. So Morgan would like to know, what is your favorite AmpGuard event?
So I have not been able to travel to events. The entire time that I've been in AmpGuard, all of the events that I could have traveled to have been shut down. We've had rapid shutdown for the past few years because of COVID. A lot of outside of Kingdom events have also been shut down because COVID. Yeah, even the Gathering of the Crowns is not going to be in person this year, unfortunately. But I understand and I respect that, and I'm glad they're taking safety into hand.
Yeah, spoilers. If you happen to be watching this and haven't seen it, Burning Lands is not going to be hosting a physical in-person GOTC this year. There will be a virtual COM meeting like there was the last 2 years, but I think this year specifically was scheduling conflict and not COVID. So we are getting steps closer to having another GOTC, and GOTC, whenever it happens again, is going to be beyond wild.
Exactly.
There's going to be so many years of pent up need for nerd that it's going to be AmpGuard's equivalent to debauchery. I don't want to say it's going to be everyone else's version of debauchery. It'll be AmpGuard's version of it. Many games and many RPs and many meetings and so many tents. So Kenjin asked the question, and it works out really well because you haven't got to do a live event. Kenjin would like to know, in your opinion, what would be a perfect AmpGuard event?
I love castles. I would love to stay at a castle and have an event at a castle, and just like, you can rent out multiple rooms within it and everything like that to spend the night. Just games on the courtyard, etc. You can even like a ballroom. Have a battle game inside a ballroom. I think would be really dope. I would love to have a castle event. I think that'd be really cool.
Whew, yeah, I would. Is there any castles in America?
So there is a castle that you can rent out for like weddings and stuff about 20 minutes from here, but it is quite expensive to be fair. Okay. So like I think that's largely what the issue is. I know there's a couple of different castles throughout America. And I think the main issue is that they're quite expensive to rent out, and so it's not necessarily always a feasible option to have an event there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to read a couple of, from the chat here, Dallin. Yeah, we're all worried about that first in-person event because everyone's going to go a little harder and a little farther than they would have if we would have been doing it every year. It's just, it's human nature that we go, we have to pop at some point, and there's going to be too many hugs, and there's going to be AmpGuard debauchery. Someone's going to drink alcohol. I don't know if that's going to be anyone on this chat or whatever, but we'll just have to make sure we're being responsible. But yeah, I'm worried too, but my worry is starting to get greatly outweighed by the fact that I don't have any human contact. So
yeah,
let's, but also for safety. I can't say that for safety. Not about me. It's not about me. There, I said it. It's 97 episodes in a row where Kodiak said it's not about me. We're doing it. Freya would like to know, what is one of your best experiences in AmpGuard?
That's a great question. Honestly, meeting my partner is my favorite. We've been together for as long as I've been at AmpGuard. We met like week 3 of me being out at AmpGuard and have been together since. So that's probably my favorite of all time. But I don't know. I really like going to park. I really like traveling to other parks in the area. I can't really think of one particular day that stands out,
Okay.
unfortunately, but yeah, I think it's also largely because I haven't been to a huge event yet.
Well,
So,
I have to find the positive in this, right?
yeah,
You've Amp is so good that like
exactly.
it's really hard to find one.
It is.
You know, like we talk about this here. We talk about like our first year, Order of the Ash, me, Deverick, Magna Hill, Locke, our first year
Mhm.
all the time. That comes up in everyone's different conversations because everyone has an Order of the Ash story, right? Like, oh, Kodiak was running away from Friar Carlos, and then the big stupid idiot decided to slide backwards and throw his two swords behind his back like this to try to stab Friar Carlos, and all it did was rip his pants because he missed entirely, or Deverick and Kodiak colliding a whole bunch because we're big goofy dorks and don't know how to control our bodies. Whatever, everyone has one of those stories, and I think that just makes it to the point where you get like, I can't tell you one. I've had 2 years. I've had 3 years of amazing amp card. Yeah. Sorry,
I love reminiscing about previous events and everything like that. My favorite battle game scenario, at least, that happened was I was playing Yeti, one of the very few non-flying monsters that I have ever played.
Okay.
And my partner was running, I think, healer, and was just being like cornered by 2 assassins. I very quickly charged an ice ball and just dashed as fast as I could over there. Managed to freeze one of them and scare off the other. It was honestly the greatest feeling I've ever had. Nothing will top the power I felt in that moment.
That's the most Yeti thing that could have happened, right? Like,
Exactly.
oh, it's so good. That's great. That's super good. Okay. So we're gonna talk about fighting companies and households. Are you in any?
No. So at one point I was part of a fighting company that was themed around monsters, but the group kind of became inactive as COVID hit and eventually kind of just fell apart as far as I know.
Okay.
I haven't really been engaged with them since or anything like that. I am part of the Beltline, but fighting companies, households, anything like that. Well, actually, there is a queer household in the Iron Mountains that I am a part of, but we're not active or doing anything together really as a household. It's kind of just a like, there's other people, I guess.
Okay.
Kind of a deal.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the belt lines down at the end of this section before we get to the most difficult of KOK questions. We typically call them the funny ones, but you're a free agent when it comes to fighting companies and households. So, all right. So the bidding war can begin for anyone who's looking. Who would like a Monster Heavy Robyn? Monster Heavy Robyn is my 3 Days Grace cover band. Let's do that. All right. Shroud Star. I say this every single time I ask this question. Shroud Star asked this question, and then I had Shroud Star on. And during our interview, they got a storm that was so bad it started breaking out the windows in their house. Shroud Star, if you watch this video, tell us if you're okay.
Yeah.
Shroud Star would like to know. If you could create a ladder award in Amtgard that doesn't already exist, what would you call it, and what would it be for?
We were kind of throwing around this idea. Order of the Enlightened, I think, is the name that I'm kind of going with right now. I have a chronic illness that causes chronic pain and everything like that, and so it's very important for me to recognize when my limits are hit and when I need to step out of a game. And I've been told thank you about that several times, and I was like, I don't understand necessarily why I'm being thanked for that. But I've also seen other people who have like sprained their ankle and have known when to call it quits and everything like that. And I think it's very important for us to recognize when people are putting safety first, not only for themselves, but also for others. And I think Order of the Enlightened would be a great award to give out to, encourage people to keep an eye out for that safety, like be a good leader and help advise people on when to call it quits. And I think that would make a very good ladder award because it's not necessarily you improving or anything like that, but it's very similar to crowns in my opinion, of like it's a very much kind of a leadership position to be in. And so going up the leadership path with like flame belt or crown belt, I think it would work very well in that situation as well.
For sure, for sure. No, that's a great option. I haven't heard it yet, so that makes it new to me, and also very good descriptor. If you could change one rule in Amcard that currently exists, what would you change?
Gosh, there's a lot of gray area rules that I think should be clarified. I understand the need for shield dropping. I understand that shield dropping is something that it is technically a gray rule, but has been ruled like, yeah, that's totally fine. Just double check with your GMR and everything like that. I hate shield dropping so much. Like, one, I'm not good at it, to be fair. And number two, a lot of people don't end up actually using it a lot of time, or if they do, it just fails miserably, like it does with me every time that I've tried to do it. So like, that doesn't need to be a rule,
Well, I'm sure that there are people that are good at shield dropping that would be like, no, I think it needs to stay.
And we are allowed to have different opinions, even if one of us is wrong. But
they have the right to be wrong, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Tougher question. Roughly the same kind of thing, though. If you had to remove one of the knighthood belts, which one would you take away and why?
One of the knighthood belts. I mean, like, taking away a belt entirely, I don't think is like a good idea. I mean, there are some sort of like ladders that I'm like, that's a little redundant. We could probably move that into a different one. Like Dragon and Garber, I understand that, like, why they became separate, but they don't really need to be separate, in my opinion. Same with like Lion versus Rose or Crown. Like, you can give out a Lion for the same things that you can give out a Rose or a Crown for. Why do we still have Lion? Why is that a path? But those are my personal opinions on that, which is not actually related to the question. Well, it is, but isn't. But gosh, this is going to make a lot of people very upset, and I'm terribly sorry to all those people that I'm about to make upset. Sword path is something that matters a lot to the game, don't get me wrong, but there's so little opportunity to achieve it that it's making it a little bit too difficult to achieve that now. And I think if I absolutely had to pick one, it would probably be sword belt, but I don't want to see that go. I know a lot of people work really hard and strive really hard for it, and I think they deserve the chance to get it still.
For sure. No, that definitely is a new one. But that being said, I think the theory that we're putting together with this question is we'll make all of the possible ways that you could get up to knighthood its own mastery.
Yeah.
So you could just be a master of all those different things and then just have one knighthood. So we're not going as far as Sir Smiley would want, which is blow up knighthood and don't have it. But we're just going to make one. Well, we're not going to. This is probably never going to happen. But the theory is make one knighthood, make everything a masterhood that you can climb the ladder to. And then it's a personality to get to knighthood instead of a skill, right? And then we just have a bunch of masters of different things, and it's just super cool, I think. But
that's a really cool idea.
Well, just keep promoting it. Just remember, it wasn't necessarily my idea, but I'm stealing credit for it.
No, I've heard it out there before as well. Yeah. I still think it's a really neat idea. I think it will take a little bit of tweaking to figure out like how we want that represented and everything like that. But I think it's something that we might see in the future, if not a very distant future. So.
For sure. And in worst case scenario, before we get there, we could just cut sword from the entire game, right? Because that's why not? I know. But you said it, and now I gotta bring it up. Anyways, Robyn, you're relatively new to Amcard, kind of, not so much, but that means you've had time to see some up and comers. Mm-hmm. Can you give us, let's say, 5 up and comers?
We actually have had a lot of younger players at Darkmoon in the past year or so that we've been back at Park. And even before then, we had a couple of youngsters come out. Iris is actually Shen's kid, plays Assassin a lot, I think, and also plays Monster a lot. I think he's going to do great. Mm-hmm. Neon has recently joined our park. Her parents came from St. Louis as well, actually, and then moved here for work and everything like that. And Mion came. I think Mion's going to do great things in the game. That's two of them. They've brought several friends with them as well that they've met, and I think we have a lot of people doing a lot of good things in this game, and I'm very excited to see where they go. To name just 5 is going to be very rough because, like, I've placed my favorite 2, and that's not to say that anybody else is not on my favorites list. It's like, I love those 2 kids. They're going to do great. I'm super excited to see where they go in this game.
Listen, I know Iris. All right. So you saying Iris is an up and comer, and I'm like, yeah, that's got a KOK seal of approval. No, that's great. I appreciate it. Also, again, Iris, what's up, dude? How you been? Stay out of trouble. Be good. Do your homework.
Yes.
Robyn, Sir Ellicar would like to know, this is the question. I told you we were going to get to it. Are you belted to anybody? And if you could tell us a little bit about your belt family.
So I originally started out being belted under somebody who goes by the name of Bishop right now. Mm-hmm. But I basically learned all that I really wanted to learn from him. And having a belt that was more of like a friendship bracelet is fine for some people, but it wasn't really what I was chasing. I ended up taking a belt from another friend of mine, Dash, who commented earlier in this, and it's very strong mentorship in that position. The belt doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, it's a giant friendship bracelet anymore. It feels very much like, I'm having this issue with leadership. I'm having this issue with crafting something. I need your opinion on something. Like, what is your honest opinion as somebody who's been in the game longer? And what feedback do you have for me on that? And it's been super great being in this belt line as a result. And I've only been in it for maybe a month at this point. And it's been fantastic. It's been everything that I want out of the belt line. And awesome. I cannot thank Dash enough for it.
Sweet. We just KOK Kodiak, this guy right here, finally got a Dash friend request today. So that's super cool. Dash, awesome. Great. And it's nice that you mentioned the idea of a friendship ring, essentially, versus a mentorship, right? Like, you can have that where, oh, I'm just really close friends with you. Why not take a belt from you? And then there's also the ones where, like, you can help me grow in Amtgard.
Exactly.
You are a mentor to me kind of relationship. Awesome. Way to explain both of them.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with choosing one over the other. I think they're both entirely valid in what they are. I think belt lines are supposed to be made for helping promote those who are lower on the belt chain, and just getting them more recognized and everything like that. And so even if it is just an oversized friendship bracelet for some people, like, that means you still have friends that are still rooting for you and trying to put in a good word for you when it comes to, like, knighting, or when it comes to awards, or just leadership opportunities like running for office and everything like that. And I think it's a fantastic thing no matter why you choose a belt. Just the fact that you have one means that, you know, you're willing to look out for other people and having other people look out for you.
Yep. And it's interesting too, because it was a conversation that Stillette and I had recently, I think last Friday to be exact, where we were talking about, I'm a Grand Duke. I could have underlings and preparing them for growth inside of a possible knighthood down the road. And it's never occurred to me to take on a relationship like that, because I'm not sure if I'm a mentor or I'm someone who just like, oh, we're super friends, like whatever. So it's interesting just to talk to someone relatively shortly after that conversation that was like, I've done both and they both have merit and there's a good reason for them. Maybe I'll have to sit down and actually contemplate and be like, hey, applications are open. Let's do this.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll, talk to Iris and see what he's doing.
Yeah. See what's up with him.
Devrick's over there now. Devrick's home, guys. Devrick made it home. We're really happy about that. So big gamer, Robyn, you're a monster player, so you have to have an opinion on Battle Knight. What is that opinion?
I absolutely adore Battle Knight. I think it's about time that we got some recognition for it. Battle gaming is something that, well, we require, as per rules of play, you have to participate in a battle game in order to get a credit for a day. Which means we have to have battle games every single park day.
Mhm.
Why haven't we been recognizing those up until now is kind of the problem. Like, there's so many great tactical minds out there that, like, we're kind of stuck, having to aim for sword path because there wasn't really anything else that they could truly do. And now having battle game knighthood, I think is just the battle master path in general is fantastic. It gives the chance for a lot of our players to shine in a way that they hadn't been able to in the past.
For sure. Totally agree. We just had our Kingdom Midrain, and we just made 4 more Battle Knights, or not Battle Knights, sorry, Battle Masters.
Yeah.
And some of those players were players that had admitted that there was probably no path for them.
Yeah.
Because sure, they like to fight, but they don't like to fight that much. Sure, they're garbers, but they don't see themselves as high tier garbers. They do office, but they don't want to do kingdom office. They do service, but maybe, the same kind of service all the time. It's not showing any growth in it. But Battle Master, being someone who's in a battle game, knowing spells, knowing your class, because the COM presented us a scenario where you could have 3 orders, the 3 high-end orders, by having 3 different paragons. Mm-hmm. Well, now the paradigm in Dragonspine, I don't know how it is in Iron Mountains, but the paradigm for what paragon means has shifted.
Yeah.
Paragon is not like oh, you're really good at your class and we appreciate you and we don't really know what else to give you kind of award. Now it matters because it's a step towards it could be a step towards knighthood. Yeah. So,
and like the fact that Paragon is not a requirement to get battle game knighthood, but is something that is important to look at, I think is a fantastic thing, because mm-hmm. It doesn't place Paragon in a mini knighthood status anymore. It doesn't, but I think it still gives Paragon a lot more merit as a result. We've given 2 Paragons last reign, actually, and both of them I think were very much deserved. I did not recommend either of them for Paragon, simply because one of them is my partner and I didn't want to have that bias involved there. But I do still think both of them were very much well-deserved. The other person is now currently in my belt line, so...
Yeah. Well... that's the thing. So that's the thing we've gotten out of the Paragon conversation, right? Though, is people wanted Paragons before Battlemaster existed, and now Battlemaster exists, and now you're hearing more of the people who are looking for Paragons. Exactly. But you don't want to self-promote. You don't want to be too loud, right? Like, giving Kodiak a Paragon Druid, that that might not be the greatest thing because he doesn't play a traditional Druid. Like, I'm not a candy Druid. I'm not like a heavy armor go into the fray, and I'm a selfish Druid. That's the way I built mine. It's the dirty Druid build, and it's take care of myself, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But obviously that was the first thing I've ever wanted out of Amtgard. It was like, oh man, I want to be a Paragon Druid because I want like the class that personifies my character to be like as good as it can be. And now with Battlemaster, it's like, oh man, that means more than is it something. It might be the reverse now. So instead of me being like, oh, I want it because I feel like it personifies where Kodiak needs to be in the Druid build that I made for him. Now it's like, oh, if I accept that, I'm actually a step closer to being a Battlemaster. And am I a Battlemaster? So there's a give and take. But anyways, I'm rambling. It's not about me. Sorry, guys. But I have a lot of opinions.
It's a good thing to have opinions and be able to share them.
That's why I have a show. It's my show. It's Kingdom of Kodiak. I've got a whatever these are called. Who else does? Yeah, say words. Robyn, 2 more questions, and then we're going to jump into the most difficult questions on KOK. We call them the funny questions.
All right.
Can you tell us maybe, let's say, 3 to 5 of your favorite knights in Amtgard?
So 3 to 5 of my favorite knights. Bruin is definitely one of my favorites. I go to him for leadership advice all the time. He's going to be the monarch for the reign that we have planned if we get elected and everything like that. He's been great to talk to about just everything going on at Park, in life, etc. I'm very appreciative of Bruin. He's one of my favorites. Viedra has also been there. Sir Viedra's been fantastic. She's very great to talk to if there's an issue going on. She's one of the first people that I reach out to, and she reaches out to me all the time and checks on me if she knows something is going on or anything like that. And it's one of my favorite things, just having those people around to be able to reach out to me and that I can reach out to if there's something going on. Not to name drop Promethea again, but she really, her class on heraldry helped inspire me to dive deep into my persona and help inspire like, who do I want to be in this game? And like, I don't interact with her all that much. Like, we know each other, we're friends on Facebook. I talk to her whenever I get the chance, but you know, she's just not necessarily that she's been there for me, but she's been super inspiring being there. Like, even if I watch her from a distance, it's still amazing to see, you know, what she's accomplished and how she's inspired others, including myself. And I'm just appreciative of that.
Yeah. I want to just ramble about Promethea forever. I have stories, so many stories. GOTC stories, KOK stories. Promethea, you rock. Then we'll just end with that. And then the last question before we get to the most, Robyn, I need to emphasize how difficult these questions will be.
Oh, I can understand.
Okay, but you can answer the simple one first.
Okay.
What night path do you think you're on?
There's a little bit of a toss-up between Crown Path and Serpent Path currently. I have 6 orders of Garber, so I'm much further down the Serpent Path than I am down the Crown Path, but both are very important to me, and I would like to someday achieve both of them. So, but currently it looks like Garber's probably going to get there first. As long as I can stop running for office so that I can actually get awards. That's kind of the one problem with like going the Crown Path or going basically any path is like, it's hard to, you can't really award yourself when you're in office.
For sure. Well, let's put a crown on that dragon, and you know, you can have more than one right now. I mean, by the time we get to those conversations, though, maybe people have listened to me long enough that we'll only have one knighthood, and you know. Who listens to me? Come on, that's crazy. All right, Robyn, we're here. I've warned you. The most difficult questions. We're gonna start with a classic. What's the coolest dog you've ever met?
I was driving home. I didn't meet this dog, to be clear. I did not meet this dog, but this is the most amazing dog I've ever seen in my life. I was driving home one day from work. It was raining out. And there was a little bitty wiener dog, and it had on rain boots and a rain jacket. Its owner had an umbrella for it. That dog, I think about it every day, in all honesty. I'm just like, I can't get over how beautiful of a scene that was. It was waiting at the crosswalk. I hope that dog is happy. Like, I really hope the absolute best for that dog.
That sounds wonderful. That's a beautiful dog story you got there. Okay. Robyn, what's your favorite dinosaur?
What is my favorite dinosaur? I really like raptors. Like, they're kind of a simple one, but I really like raptors. And you know what? Thank you for asking this question. This is not a question that people get asked a lot, and I think that needs to be asked more. That should be in every job interview because it can really tell you a lot about a person. Yeah, raptors. They're fast. They're small. They're very smart. Like, I talk about them as if they are currently around, but they could be, and we have no idea. They could be invisible.
Invisible raptors.
Yeah. Raptors, I would honestly say, are probably my favorite.
Okay. All right. Well, and I also really do appreciate that you see the intensity that is the KOK funny questions, because these could be a job interview question. I've prepped 97 people to walk through an interview and be prepared in case they ever get asked what their favorite dinosaur is. Still would like to know, what's the best kind of dragon?
I'm kind of a big fan of the Western dragons, you know? Like having all 4 feet, a long tail, and wings, like total package in my opinion. Just like absolutely down for Western style dragons. I think Eastern style dragons also have their own merit. They can fly without wings, which is super cool. But yeah, you know, I play mostly flying things. I like having the wings. Western dragons, it has to be. It is.
Okay. All right. Good. What about your favorite fictional knight?
Sir Gawain is probably from Sir Gawain, and most people know the tale. If not, Google it. But Sir Gawain, he was very honest and was very honorable, and I think that is fantastic. When you know the axe came down and only hit just drew a little bit of blood from his neck because he did tell one small lie, but because he had been so genuine and honest throughout the entire thing, he was granted forgiveness. And I think fictionally, yeah, he's probably one of the top tiers, you know? Just like
that's a great answer. Yeah. Well, I mean, you give an answer and then you have a great explanation to go behind it too, so that's awesome. Zachary would like to know, what's the best fictional or non-fictional sword name?
I really like the Crimson Blade, to the point of that's what I named my fanciest dagger. The Crimson Blade, I think, is just a really cool name because it can imply so many different things. It can imply that the dagger or the blade is just naturally red because it's made from some sort of red material. It could imply that it's instead covered in blood. Like, there's so many different ways to take that, and just sounds menacing. Like, the Crimson Blade.
For sure. I'm sorry if I'm a little distracted. Devrick has decided that he needs to be just off screen, waiting for the pop question, which is like 20 minutes from now, but he's impatient. Robyn, do you play Magic the Gathering?
I do, actually. I used to play Magic the Gathering competitively on a semi-local scale. So I won a couple of different tournaments.
Sick.
I was a judge for quite a while.
Also sick. What's your colors?
Red is my main color, but I typically go into red-blue or red-black. So is it Rakdos colorations? Those tend to be my favorite play styles. I'm very much an aggro player. So, yeah.
Cool. Also, thank you for using the guilds. I've tried to get, since I started asking this question, I've tried to get people to use the guild names, and I think you're the first one to just thank you. Thank you for that. Robyn, what is your favorite color? Doesn't have to be Magic based.
So my favorite color is actually blue, which is interesting because I bring up red a lot, but blue is my favorite color mundanely. My persona's favorite color is red. So that's why we have so much red everywhere.
Fantastic. All right. Self-serving question, and since it's been about me most of this conversation, I might as well make another one about me. Is Kodiak more of a Jedi or a Sith?
You know, you seem very honest and helpful to people, and I appreciate what you're doing, just interviewing people and you know, keeping everyone entertained during these pretty difficult times. And so I would say Jedi. Like, you're on a good path.
Oh, well, thank you. The third answer has been getting pardon me. The third answer has been getting answered less and less because people are just like, oh, well, you're giving me two options. Gray Jedi is the right answer. Like, I have the Gray Jedi oath on my phone. It's like right there. But thank you.
I'm gonna be real. I don't know a whole lot about Star Wars. I never really got into it.
You've made it this far with you being a fantastic person. Don't say things like that.
I will keep my mouth shut.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have well, let me ask this first. Do you play D&D?
Yes, I do, actually.
Fantastic. Do you have a favorite race or species?
So I really like playing half-elves. I just think they're very versatile, and I don't know, they're fun. In my opinion, and this is not to upset anyone, but why would I ever choose human? Like, mundanely, why would I choose human in a fantasy game? Kind of a deal. This is my escapism. Like I'm gonna distance myself as much as I can. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Deverick in the corner there?
No, Deverick just walked away and started to pout, and it's fantastic. But it's in the corner of my eye, so I can't avoid it. I'm sorry, shiny objects and whatnot. So I don't disagree. A +2 to charisma and then +1 to any other 2 stats makes half elf versatile, right? But the min-maxer in me looks at variant human and says, I would also get a feat.
I get it. I completely understand. I have played humans before in campaigns. I just didn't enjoy it as much as playing like half elves. So.
Yeah. Friday, after a TPK last Friday, I get to play a shifter Drake Warden Ranger.
Nice.
And that's gonna be fun. I don't have a name for it yet, but we'll figure that out. Okay, so what is your go-to build?
Well, I played a bard in a previous campaign. This is not to plug something else, but the Dice That Bind Us is a D&D show on YouTube that I was a part of for a while, and I really loved playing Temp Bard, which is it's been a little bit. I believe they were a half-elf bard, and yeah, just took a little bit of wizard stuff as well, just to kind of balance out, and revolved a lot around explosives, revolved around a lot around guns, just finding any way to make a big bang kind of a deal. Yeah, it was really fun. Unfortunately, life got out of hand, and so I had to step away from the game. And Temp Bard died spectacularly, just the way they lived, in a pile of ash.
Yes. Well, two follow-ups. Well, one is a statement, one's a question. I also have had the most fun I've ever had playing a character when I was playing a bard. Not in a game that was Dungeons and Dragons. We were playing Apocalypse Worlds variant, and I was playing a bard named Pendrell who just loved to be naked. And Dungeon World is the name of the game. This is why we keep Deverick around. He's one arm length away from answering a question for me. But yeah, and then secondly, are you watching Vox Machina?
No, I am not. I know. I don't have a whole lot of free time in my day. Fair. And when I do have free time, I like watching anime. So that's.
I hear you. I dedicated my lunch to having kids come into my room to watch anime. And it's my turn to pick. And I said, guys, we're not going to watch an anime. We're going to watch Vox Machina from the start, and we'll catch it eventually. But like, these kids need to be introduced to Dungeons and Dragons now, because they're falling behind. And as a late bloomer in Dungeons and Dragons myself, I know the need for that. But we're going to move on here, Robyn. We're going to get to my favorite funny question.
Yeah.
Amtgard's making a live action movie. Who's playing Robyn?
That is an interesting question. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of non-binary actors that I know of that would be able to replicate my small stature and small height to go with it. So I don't know. I also don't pay a whole lot of attention to celebrities and celebrity names. Again, most of what I watch ends up being anime or Let's Players on YouTube. So
okay.
I don't really see a whole lot of people's faces anyways.
Okay. All right. Well, when the shadowy figure, probably wearing feathers of some variety and wings, comes onto the screen, what's the theme song?
I really enjoy classical music as like a theme. I don't know. Like, there's so many great options. Like, anything that's a little bit of a waltz, I think would do very well, personally. Okay. Yeah. Right. Like, just the 3-step through a battlefield, would be just like a booming score. I think classical music works very well there, but I really can't choose a single waltz to fit that theme. Well,
it could be that whatever person they cast changes entirely what the waltz is, right? Like, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you're not going to get out of this next one. We're not making the movie anymore. Okay. But every amp garter has a superpower. What's your superpower?
So actually, that's a specific part of my backstory. So
Hey.
as a changeling, I was born with a very specific power that aids in my changing. If I come in contact with a living being, then I can gain access to their memories and be able to transform into that. So I can transform into anything based on sight, but I can't act as the person without having some of their memories. The longer I maintain contact with that person, the more memories I can absorb and then better fulfill the role of that person as. Now, keep in mind, this only works with living beings. So I specifically cannot end up playing undead monsters because my persona cannot transform into undead because they cannot gain that contact and fill the role as needed for it. Like, can look the part, but can't do anything as the part.
So you would look like a zombie, but you'd be out there talking like you're normal. Okay, all right.
Exactly like if you threw on zombie makeup right now, like how it would be. Like, you wouldn't really know what a zombie's motivations or abilities are.
No, I'd be the worst zombie for sure. Totally. Okay, Robyn, what is your favorite conspiracy, and what's your favorite Amtgard conspiracy?
Well, there's a lot of different conspiracies that I think are quite funny, and then there are some that get a little bit into like, that's a little questionable about how close to reality that is. My favorite conspiracy, it's been a while since I've been asked this. I love the conspiracy theory that birds are real. People think birds are real, and honestly, like, what proof do we really have that they're not just government drones? Like, I think just the idea that birds actually exist is a hilarious conspiracy to me, you know?
I only laughed because you answered like 3 questions from now. I ask, are birds real? And we don't have to ask now. We know. What about Amtgard conspiracy?
What is my favorite? My cat is yelling at me because it knows I'm doing something and I'm busy and therefore needs my attention immediately.
For sure.
What is my favorite Amtgard conspiracy? I love the idea that V8 was written exclusively by Sword Knights when I know that's actually not the case, but it's like a very common like thought process that people have. Like, V8 was written by Sword Knights. I'm like, you can read the names in the book and know that they were not all of them were Sword Knights at the time. It's just people wanted to make a more like consistent game. And so we ended up taking a lot of the roleplay out as a result, and I think that's why a lot of people think it was exclusively Sword Knights, but it wasn't. Like, okay. Don't blame Sword Knights for problems. They're not all of the problems.
Yeah, if Sword Knights get enough flack, let's not just blame them for V8. Okay, come on. All right. Okay. So Lightning would like to know. You know Lightning, right?
Yeah, I know Lightning.
Lightning, friend of the show.
It was the 12th. Yeah, like 40 years.
Yeah, Lightning, friend of the show. Lightning would like to know: would you rather adopt 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Adopt 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck.
Yep.
Okay. Horse-sized duck, probably, because the 100 duck-sized horses I would very much lose track of immediately. I have 3 cats, and 100 duck-sized horses, like, they would get eaten very quickly. Okay. Like, my cats will eat literally anything that moves. Yeah, you're very cute. But a horse-sized duck, they would be very tempted to take on, but definitely could not win in any scenario.
Fair enough.
I feel like that one has the longest chance of survival.
Okay. All right. We'll still would like to know, would you rather fight a duck-sized horse or a horse-sized duck?
1 duck-sized horse or 1 horse-sized duck? Probably the duck-sized horse, because I could capture it a little bit easier than a horse-sized duck. Yeah. Capturing, I think, is the better option here. Just run circles around it very quickly with a rope. I think it'll be fine.
Okay. All right. So because you answered "Are birds real?" I'm going to ask the alternative question here. I haven't had to do that in a minute because most people agree that birds are real, except for you. Should the king be allowed to wear Crocs?
Personally, I, as a garber, am very in tune with fashion nowadays. I have never worn Crocs, and I do not plan to wear Crocs. That being said, I have been told by quite some people who care significantly less about fashion that they're comfy, and if that's what you want, if you want comfort, go for it. But if you want to be, a very regal king, a very fashionable king, don't wear Crocs.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't get an option for the next 5 Kingdom events. A fundraiser was done, and I have to wear Crocs the next 5 events. I've never worn them either. I wasn't planning on wearing them, but yeah, and it's going to take away from my awesome footwear. So not too impressed. All right, Robyn, we're here. We're at the question. This question keeps the household, together. Let me just take a sip, if I would, of the correct answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. What is the better drink? Code Red or Baja Blast?
I cannot have Mountain Dew. It has way too much caffeine in it, for the record.
Okay.
That being said, so caffeine addiction is something that I've worked very hard in my life to overcome, and so I can't have a whole lot of caffeine. I limit myself to 1 Coca-Cola a day, and even that's a bit much sometimes. I've had Baja Blast before. I've had Code Red before. Baja Blast is the superior flavor in my opinion. I understand that Code Red has its benefits. I understand. Baja Blast has a better flavor. I don't care if you think I'm wrong. You are allowed to also be wrong.
Robyn, he is going to sit on the couch and he's going to brag that he got someone to say the wrong answer again for, I don't know how many times we've done this.
97 episodes. I would assume 97 times.
No. This question has occurred recently because there is a clear divide in this house. The kingdom of Kodiak is divided on Mountain Dew product.
I see.
And the populace is 75% wrong because they vote for Anyways, Dalen, at this point, Dalen would probably tell us that there's a Baja Blast Zero that I still have yet to try, that if I tried, I would still not put above Code Red because I don't even put Baja Blast above Code Red, but maybe better and maybe closer to what the true taste of awesome is, which is a red Mountain Dew. How dare you all? I'm going to quit this show. Never mind. Anyways, Sir Nikolai would like to know, what are you currently drinking, and when's the last time you drank water?
I had water earlier today. Let me be clear on that. This is actually Sprite.
Okay.
It's clear, so it looks like water. I try to lie to people, but then it fizzles, and then people are like, "That's not water."
What are you doing over there? Okay, Robyn, we've gotten to the either ors. If you could just give me one or the other answers, we'll blow through these. Apple juice or orange juice?
Orange juice.
Hot dog, is it a sandwich or a taco?
Sandwich.
Ice cream or custard?
Ice cream.
Waffle or pancakes?
Waffles.
How much is too much to spend on breakfast?
I don't eat a whole lot of breakfast, so I'd say $3.
Okay. 3? Dang. Okay. What's your favorite thing to add to a bowl of yogurt?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
What's your favorite thing to add to a bowl of yogurt?
Oreos. I really like adding Oreos.
Oreos? I haven't tried that. All right.
Oreos. I can't have dairy anymore. I haven't been able to have dairy for 10 years. But when I was younger, Oreo had an Oreo yogurt that was specifically designed for kids. It had crumbled Oreos in one side, and then you pour it into the vanilla yogurt. It's pretty good.
I'm gonna find that Honey Nut Cheerios I still haven't got to experiment with yet, but it sounds wonderful. Yeah. 2 options I've got to try. Okay, we have A couple questions for Morgan. We got questions all day. We're almost done. We're almost done. Morgan would like to know, is oatmeal a soup?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like it. So.
Final four questions. Morgan would also like to know, what is the square root of a bowl of oatmeal?
Square root of a bowl of oatmeal. 1.718.
Okay.
It's the square root of pi, but
Well, okay. Well, showing off because no one's given that answer yet. Morgan would like to know, can you, with as much detail as possible, explain what the color of the letter F smells like?
Blueberries.
Blueberries.
Yeah, blueberries. I didn't know that was something that I would ever have to think about, but the first thing that came to mind was blueberries, and I feel like it would smell like blueberries.
I can't argue with you. I mean, okay. Robyn, if you could meet anyone in history, who would it be and why? Is it Freddie Mercury?
I just wish he was a little bit more honest with us. There's a lot of concern about, was he gay, was he bi, etc. And I just think having that conversation with him and being like, you don't have to put a label on it if you don't want to, but people are asking and we feel like we need to know, just having that conversation would be nice.
Okay, fair enough. Last question. Let me catch my breath and take a sip of the correct answer.
Okay.
If it takes a day and a half, Morgan, it's getting really hard not to look at this again. I may have to look back at it. If it takes a chicken and a half, a day and a half to lay an egg and a half, how long would it take a grasshopper with a wooden leg to kick the seed out of a dill pickle?
Are there seeds in dill pickles?
There's seeds in a dill pickle.
Okay, well, I don't eat a whole lot of pickles, in all honesty. Probably with the wooden leg, as long as it's attached pretty well, I think it would take less than 5 minutes.
Okay, less than 5 minutes. Fantastic. Robyn, thank you so much for coming on today. If you could just bear with me through some announcements, we'll say our goodbyes. Dragon's Spine, we've had our mid-reign. We've made some more Battle Masters, but that means that declarations are open for end reign. I've declared to become the Kingdom Regent if elected. Tashima has put his declaration in for re-election as our Kingdom Monarch. Gideon has put in his election to run as Monarch. I'm trying to think if anyone else has declared. We don't have any more declarations. Stillhet did win the Prime Minister seat at our Kingdom Mid-Reign from Kenjin, so congratulations to Stillhet there. Our BOD is in need of one or two more people to join our coalition board of directors and do all of the mundane stuff behind the scenes. So, looking for people to volunteer for that. Congratulations to all the board of director members who were voted back in. Let's see. We've already talked about it, but GOTC is not going to be a live event. It's going to be just the COM done through Zoom again. This time, though, the verbiage of the cancellation sounded more of like a scheduling issue and less of a COVID issue. So 2023, here we come. That's all I got. Robyn, you got anything you'd like to say?
Nothing in particular. However, we are still recruiting for the battle that's coming up September 3rd. Please come down to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and fight with us. I definitely want you on my side, and I will send you a message specifically about that afterwards. But I definitely want everyone who's watching this to be on my side. But I also will completely understand if you choose the side of the blood-sucking monsters that are murdering everyone. I get it. I get it. We've all been blood-sucking monsters before.
Well, and Robyn, we've learned very recently, like maybe 7 minutes ago, that people with good intentions can make the wrong decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear back from you about getting that together. I will see if I can get as much Dragon's Spine up there as possible. I know Dragon's Spine and Iron Mountains have a really great relationship. This would only solidify it. But again, thank you so much for coming on. It was wonderful talking to you. Yeah, you stay safe.
You too. Please, okay. Everybody stay safe out there. Wash your hands, drink water. Just stay safe. That's my biggest plea.
For sure. And until next time, this has been Kingdom of Kodiak, and I'm Kodiak. Yep.